You just killed somebody. And I go, sir, she killed herself. Like, I did not kill anybody, but I understand.
I'm glad you realized that.
Yeah, that's scary to be in that situation. You feel like, man,
if she was
in prison,
right? Oh yeah.
A lot of people take that on just because it happened.
Well,
Like
he told
you
me
said earlier with the
you
realized you were someone you were dragging down the road.
Right. Well, he told me about an hour later, and I'm skipping forward, but he told me about an hour later that during any fatality investigation, everything has to be checked. Everything. Like, I mean, just to make sure that I wasn't driving illegally. I had to have a drug test. I had to do all those things, but that's later in the story. But so he came back after, I don't know, time at this point is relative, but I feel like it was maybe 30, 45 minutes. He came up to talk to me, asked me a bunch of questions, told me that I killed somebody, asked me for my logbook, asked me for my trainee's logbook, asked me, and then finally asked me what happened rather than just accusing me of killing somebody.
Is he legally allowed to say that you killed somebody?
Yeah, I mean, he is at that point. I mean,
But he can't really prove it.
Correct, but he's not charging me.
In hindsight, man, that's probably not a good thing to say to somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Before you even know exactly what's
Innocent
happening.
until proven guilty.
I really,
Right?
I feel like
That's one of the problems, I think.
I feel like he wanted me to have a different reaction than I did. I really don't know. I feel like he wanted me to admit something. I think that's just kind of the way that. To be honest, I don't have any animosity against him. That's kind of the way police work goes. I mean, if it was somebody and he walked up and said, "Do you realize you just killed somebody?" They would start breaking down, crying, and said, "Yes, I did. Oh my God, I didn't do it on purpose. Oh my God." So I feel like it was just his investigative process.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
You
really
could
know.
have felt
Test your
that way.
emotions.
Yeah, I killed somebody. Man.
I just-
jumped off the bridge and I hit her.
But if you're confused because you're driving and you're kind of minding your own business and you're paying attention, and all of a sudden a body falls out of the sky.
For the sky, exactly.
And it happens so fast, you don't know what direction it actually came from.
And that's a good point. I honestly do feel like this is going to sound weird, but I feel like it was the best scenario for what she could have done. And what I mean by that is that if she would have just hit a car, imagine how much more pliable and smaller cars are. She could have killed somebody else. They could have rolled and killed themselves. They could have done a lot of different things.
Caused a huge accident.
And in retrospect, my truck had the damage to my truck was a handprint, and a crack in the top of my roof, and some
destroyed a car.
And to be honest, this is Gorehound, and brains literally fucking everywhere. Like, not much blood, mostly brains everywhere. On top of my trailer, on top of my truck, on the catwalk, down the side of the truck.
I mean, she really wanted to die. She targeted the biggest vehicle on the road.
Exactly. I mean,
it's not like she was targeting a yellow Volkswagen. Like,
Right.
I'm gonna fall down on this.
Well, he was
Nice
making
yellow
damn
Volkswagen.
sure she wasn't going to walk away.
Yeah.
I would have jumped into a convertible.
Right. Landed softly and went on a road trip with somebody.
Hey, take me with you.
Yeah. You going to California?
My head's bleeding, but take me with you.
Right. But I mean, yeah. But to be honest, I really do think that, like, I don't know, man. I don't claim to be spiritual or whatever, but it worked out. It was the best scenario for what it could have been. To be honest, imagine if she hit a Hyundai.
Oh my God!
Imagine, and they could have swerved, and it caused everybody's going 75 miles an hour. I didn't. Yeah.
If you're gonna do that, have some class. Why hit a Honda?
Right. Mercedes.
Hit a Cadillac.
There you go. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, a Rolls Royce.
Take out one of those thousands, $100,000 cars.
I could never take my own life.
Tesla.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
I could make the feds do it.
I'm curious though. How long do you think she would have been waiting on the bridge for a Tesla? Couple days.
Yeah.
But I'll get back to. I know we have limited time, so I'll get back to the officer talking to me, and the officer starts asking me, "Well, what happened?" And I just explained how I explained to you guys in less detail, because at that point I don't know what
You were in shock.
something, I guess. Yeah, I've never really felt shock before, hypothetically, but I guess, yeah. And so I told him the story, and he goes, "Well, I need to know right now, and you have to remember this and tell me the truth. And if you lie, you'll go to jail. Did somebody push her off the bridge?" And I had to think about that. And I was like, there was a car behind her. I don't know if anybody was in the car. I don't know if anybody was behind her at all. I just saw her.
Right.
And I saw her hanging off the bridge. I doubt somebody pushed her, but I told him I don't believe anybody pushed her.
But I'm not 100%.
Right. And when I saw her, she was hanging off. I mean, she was feet planted, head forward, arms behind, hanging off the bridge.
Did you have to go up to the bridge with authorities to try to show them the general area where she was?
No, I mean...
Did they actually go investigate the
bridge? They did, yeah. They had the highway shut down.
Was still there.
They had the highway shut down for 4.5 hours investigating the fatality, but I wasn't... Luckily, I didn't have to stay for all that, but I do believe that the story that I told was reflected with the evidence and reflected with other people's eyewitness accounts of what happened to the other traffic, all those other types of people, yeah. But he asked me a lot of detailed questions, and some of the questions I really couldn't answer, and I don't feel like in the way that I could have. But he asked me, like, did she actually physically leap off the bridge? Did you see her leap? Did you see her lunge forward? The whole time he has to do paperwork. I get it. He has to do his investigation, make sure it wasn't homicide, it was suicide. I get all that stuff. In retrospect, back then I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I mean, no, she fell or jumped or leaped or whatever. And he goes, well, what did you see? And I remember...
What time of day was this at?
About 1 o'clock in the afternoon or so. Probably, it was midday at least. But...
how was the weather?
Clear. It was a nice day, actually. It was really nice. Yeah, it was.
It is in that part of the country.
Yeah, it was actually a beautiful day. But I do remember when he asked me that particular question, I had to remember and go into my mind and try to see like the last thing I saw. And the last thing I saw actually was her no longer making contact with the bridge at all. I remember her in midair, and the only way that I was a big wrestling fan when I was a kid, and this is not a joke, and the officer actually laughed his ass off, and I'm not sure why, but this is not a joke at all. I'm a huge wrestling fan when I was a kid, and the only way that I could explain to him in the process of her journey was that she looked like a wrestler jumping off the top rope. That's what I said to him, and he thought it was fucking hilarious. He busted out laughing like a
It's Arkansas.
Yeah, and he's just like, I'm sure. Yeah.
Laugh, right?
Well, police officers see trauma pretty much every day, so.
Right. I'm sure he's seen some shit.
Everybody deals with that shit different.
Yeah, that's true.
But, in the midst of him laughing at me, and he actually apologized, and he goes, okay, well, I got your statement. I need you to write your own statement as well. And I need you to drive to the next truck stop. I need you to drive to the next truck stop, and it's only 2 miles north. I need you to wait there until I come see you. And so I wrote my statement. I did all that, and then there was a crime scene photographer that actually met me 30, 45 minutes later at the truck stop, taking pictures of all the things, and got a bunch more information from me. And at that point, like, that's when I actually got out of the truck with the crime scene photographer. Because before that, I was just pretty much like, I felt like my safe space was the driver's seat. I guess I really don't even know, but I got out of the truck with the crime scene photographer, and the crime scene photographer was pointing out all the points of impact.
Damn.
Was pointing out where that basically it shows that she hit it like a certain angle. He was telling me all these things, and I'm not sure why. But he was telling me, just...
Those forensic guys are nerds. They get off on...
Was he getting off?
Yeah, you could tell he was.
Knowledge.
I mean, some dude that works for the Arkadelphia Police Department who's a crime scene photographer. I'm sure this is.
I live in Arkadelphia.
I'm sure he doesn't see very many truck versus pedestrian things.
Yeah,
so.
right.
But
boy, I hope not.
I got to see I got to learn, and that's why I was saying in the beginning, in retrospect, like I got to learn exactly what happened and where she hit and the angle that she hit at. And he showed me where he climbed up with a ladder towards the top of the truck to take pictures, and he showed me where handprints were, where her head, there was a head print as well. And
You said not a lot of blood?
not a whole lot of blood. The most blood that was on my tractor or on my vehicle at all was near the rear trailer tires. It flung it up the side of the trailer because that's when she started to bleed. Before that, according to him, I don't even know any of this stuff.
Bag of bones.
But according to him, like she didn't actually start to bleed until after she got ran over for the second time.
Just a friendly reminder, we have 4 minutes left.
Oh, okay, perfect. So to kind of close it out, I went through all the investigative process. I wrote my statement. I talked to everybody I needed to talk to, and then I got put in a hotel for the day until I could get transportation back to Dallas. The truck just stayed in their custody.
What happened to your trainee?
He quit. He went home.
And
He quit.
did they provide counseling for you,
Yeah.
if you needed it?
Yep. So I had to get mandatory counseling, and that's their policy, the company's policy. When it comes to a fatality accident, you have to get mandatory counseling. I had a week of mandatory counseling I had to go through before they allowed me to do anything. Yeah, and
A week.
yeah, exactly. And so I would to close everything it made me, this part made me feel a lot better. So I had to actually the act of it didn't make me feel better. I was actually very mad at the company, but the company wanted me to go pick up the truck. It was at a wrecker yard in Arkadelphia. They wanted me to actually go physically pick it up and bring it back to Dallas. I told them I would, and so I physically went to that city again, picked up the truck. It was all duct taped across the top, and it had like a tarp on top of it and things like that. And believe it or not, and this is, I don't know how to make this sound real, but it is. The owner of the tow yard was the brother of the lady who killed herself.
Are you kidding?
Oh, wow.
No. So I actually got to talk to him and ask questions, and it made me feel a lot better.
Clarified that she committed suicide?
Yeah, so I actually got the story. He actually told me, it made me feel much better. I know we're almost out of time, but just real quick, she actually had
almost 3 minutes, Rookie.
Okay, she had actually went to college. She was engaged to this man that she met in high school, and she went to college. The man stayed back and stayed home and worked in Arkadelphia, and she got raped in college. And when she got raped, the person that was with her since high school said, I'm done. I don't want to deal with this shit. And he left her. And she came back from college. She had student loans and all this crazy shit. And she's back in her hometown, uneducated and nobody to be around. And she had tried to commit suicide 6 times before she did it with my truck.
That's why she made sure.
And the brother actually thanked me for, said sorry and then thanked me for being the last person to be around and to handle the way I handled the situation, and not freak out, try to sue anybody or try to sue the family.
That's an intense story.
Did you stop driving truck?
I drove truck I quit that company and came back to Colorado to drive for a different company, but shortly after that I quit driving truck.
Well, Carter, I want to thank you for coming in today and telling us your story. I want to thank everybody for being here. Woo woo!
Yeah.
Gorehound Storytellers, any last words?
Thanks for letting me tell my
Don't
story.
forget to come in and rent a movie.
Put together a podcast show. We have lots of open spots. Talk about your art, your movies, bands, promotions.
Crazy shit that happens when you're a trucker, maybe, I don't know.
Anything. Thanks for coming. This is Gorehound Storytellers every Wednesday at 8 o'clock.
Have a good day.